Hello again. I have spoken before about these elusive barriers which prevent black people and members of other visible minorities from visiting the countryside or going to parks. These barriers are very difficult to identify, but at last one has been found about which something specific and definite may be done. The same applies, of course, to parks, which are used more by white people than black. It is the aim of the devolved administration in Wales, the Welsh Government, to make the Principality free of racism by 2030, and they have been soliciting advice from stakeholders to see the best way of going about this. One problem, or perceived problem, is that not enough black people use parks and go to the countryside. One difficulty is seemingly religion. According to a report issued by the Welsh Government a week ago relating to those involved in a consultation, some participants expressed apprehension about visiting the countryside owing to their racial or religious identities. Well, I spend a lot of time in the Welsh countryside and I've never really asked myself what religion the people I see there belong to. There are quite a few Nepalese out and about due to the proximity of a garrison town with many Gurkhas, and they seem very keen on climbing mountains and so on. I assume that most are Hindu, but I cannot see what possible interest that might be to anybody, nor how it would affect their climbing a mountain or visiting a park. I dare say that many of the white people I see are Methodists, but I've never asked about this, regarding religion as essentially a private matter. I have no idea which religion would discourage anybody from going to the park or visiting the countryside. An organisation called Africa North Wales has submitted a report as part of the consultation on these barriers, and they suggest that dog-free zones might help to encourage black people to visit parks and green spaces. I give a link to this in the description to this video. It might be a bit tricky because the people in Wales are very fond of dogs, both as working animals in sheep farming districts and also, of course, as pets in towns. I'm not sure how it would reduce racism if people were told they couldn't take their dogs to the park in case they upset an African. I would think that this might be more likely to create racial prejudice rather than anything else. There's very little point in moving to Wales than complaining about the presence of dogs there. A lack of public transport to the countryside is also mentioned, but in most towns in Wales it's only a short walk to the country. From the centre of Brecon, for example, you would only need to walk for 20 minutes or so to reach open country. One hardly needs a bus or train for that purpose. Just as well, really, for the nearest railway station to Brecon is about 20 miles away. I regularly visit Penarvan, which is the highest mountain in southern Britain. I don't need any public transport. I just walk there from the centre of town. Anybody who wishes could do the same. Incidentally, on the top of Corndeer and Penarvan, one sees quite a few people, especially in the summer. Most are white, but there are also quite a few people of Indian heritage and some whose families are from Pakistan. There are fewer black people, but I certainly see some up there. I do not believe for a moment that racism is preventing people climbing that mountain, any more than it's preventing anybody from visiting parks in Cardiff, say. Different groups prefer different activities, and that's all there is to the case.